All right, here we go. It is episode 19 of the G's podcast presented by betParx. There he is, Harry Mays. What's going on, H?
Hey man, feels like we just did one of these. It's this last week has just flown by for me. I don't know about you.
Do you already have the countdown timer, Har, on the 2023 Masters?
No, I do not. I'm still recovering from the 86th edition this past weekend, but yeah, it was a really fast week. It felt like we got like almost 4 inches of rain over where I live in the past 7 days, and finally starting to warm up this week. So spring is really here.
Yeah, I'm getting pissed off. I'm like, did Mother Nature not get the memo? Does she not have a calendar?
Yeah,
Like it's warm, but when it's warm, it dumps rain on us.
right.
And when it's not raining, it's freezing
cold.
out.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Tax week too, Har.
Yeah, I've been spending the morning writing out checks. It's really disgusting.
Yeah.
Yep.
Especially when you work for yourself. What's the name of your company? Do you have an LLC? Is it like
No, I
Tighten It Up LLC?
No, I used to have an LLC with Shander, but that is
With him?
Yes.
Well, a joint.
Yeah. Can you imagine that?
Imagine him with a joint. I could see the name of your company. You have got to get faster.
Exactly
Limited
right.
liability company.
Yeah, nothing happens fast enough in my world.
No,
Yeah,
it does not.
Yeah.
Including your own movements.
Exactly. Baseball started this past weekend, and Phillies got out of the gate 2-1.
Yeah, well, they should have swept. The A's stink.
Yeah, I know. They didn't score on Sunday. They got beat 4-1, I think, right?
Yeah, they didn't even get anything going until late in the game.
Now they got the Mets coming in, and Zach Wheeler hasn't even pitched yet.
Yeah, it's crazy. Is a tradition like any other at your house for Masters weekend too, Har? Is that its own tradition?
Well, I mean, if you call watching television a tradition, I guess it is in my
14
house.
hours and 4 days in a row.
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. Well, I got that, that ESPN Plus app, which had the golf on from, the time that the first group tees off all the way through the end. And then I just pick up the regular telecast when they jump on, because it's limited. They only get a couple hours a day.
Yeah.
With CBS on Saturday and Sunday. And Thursday, Friday was limited with ESPN, but you get that app, man. You can start watching that golf at 8 a.m.
Yeah, that's an outrage, by the way. They should be covering that thing from the time the first player pulls into the parking lot on the national network.
Well,
am I right?
Yeah. Well, the Masters gets what the Masters wants. They dictate everything, they want it that way.
And we always get this hour-long look back at some guy from 1945 prior to them picking up the coverage. I don't need that.
I know.
Put that on YouTube. I'll watch it.
I agree. I mean, how many times do we have to see Tiger winning in 1997? I've seen it enough, as my friend Tony Bruno used to say. I've seen it enough.
Tiago splitter.
That was the LeBron Tiago splitter
block. I don't need to see it again. I've seen it enough. Such a classic moment.
Oh,
speaking of apps, you got to get the betParx app, because I know you put out the play last week for Tagger to get the cut, and he got there.
Yeah,
he the cut. I don't know.
Yeah, he made the cut, but I'll tell you, he was noticeably limping, on Saturday and especially Sunday. I mean, he was in a lot of pain, man.
Yeah, I can't imagine his body going through those rigors for the first time, just walking the hills of the course.
I know.
I didn't get in that car accident, and I know my hips would have been gassed.
Right. My hips are gassed usually after playing 18 at my club.
Yeah, in a cart.
Yeah, well, either that or with the push cart, whatever. I mean, they're gassed either way.
You using the push cart these days? Have a little exercise? Turn it into a sport.
Absolutely. You got to, man.
I prefer golf with a cart, because then it's a leisure activity. It's not a sport.
Right. And then you have your bar along with you. You got a couple drinks in the console.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Get the betParx app. It is fantastic. And we got a new code, Har, for the app.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's JASON 750. And what
Jason 750.
Yeah, and that is a $750 risk-free bet for all users. Terms and conditions apply.
Is that right?
That's not a 50. That's not a hundo. That's not even a 500. 750. Yeah.
Wow.
That's serious ducats.
I think that's the highest in the industry.
It is.
Yeah.
It's an industry leader, as a matter of fact.
Now, would you place that risk-free bet on the 76ers to beat the Toronto Raptors in the playoff series, knowing that they will not be able to use Matisse Thybulle apparently when the games go to Toronto?
Yeah, I'm surprised that he's allowed to play against the Raptors because of exposure and how the Canadians are handling the stupid pandemic.
Well, yeah.
You know?
This whole thing doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, I don't know how much he got into it, but he apparently had one of the shots.
Yeah.
But didn't get the second one.
Didn't get the follow-up.
If he would have taken the J&J shot, he'd be good, right? Because you only need one, right?
Yeah.
But instead, I guess he went Pfizer or Moderna, which he needed the two. And somewhere between getting the first one, I don't know, it might have been a year ago. I don't know when he got it. He's had a change of heart and decided not to get the second one. Why would you go ahead? I mean, do whatever you want to do. I'm not going to judge anybody.
Yeah.
But if you're going to get one of the shots that requires two, why not get the second one and be done with it?
Yeah, I don't get because he said he grew up in a holistic household.
Right.
Which means, they use holistic ways of healing.
Chinese herbs and all this kind of stuff, to fix
green tea.
Yeah, right. And that's good. Knock yourself out. I hope it works. It obviously did. He's a star athlete.
Yeah.
Right?
But you make the greatest point of all, though. Why get one? And if you're going to get one, just get the one that's going to clear you to cross the border and be there and available for your team.
Right.
I don't care if people get it. That's up to them if they want to get it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Totally agree. But, he's a huge piece that they're going to be missing. We're going to talk to Dei Lynam in just a couple minutes. She's going to join us and give us the download on her thoughts on it. But, yeah, that's a weird situation. So, no, I would not put my $750 risk-free bet because of that element. Plus, they got no bench.
Yeah, they have a problem, as they always seem to have had, except for maybe, Dwight Howard was here, had a nice year, and then Drummond was here while he was here, was pretty good at spelling Embiid. Whenever the big guys got to go to the bench, it just seems like the opponent just, it's like a highway, freeway to the hoop.
Yeah.
And, they're going to have to try to work that out. And, Doc Rivers, he's under a lot of pressure, man. If this team doesn't get past the second round, and I'd say into the Eastern Conference Finals, he's probably gone, right?
I would think so. If they don't get past the second round, since this whole process thing, they haven't gotten past the second round.
No.
It was supposed to, be the path to getting past the second round and out of this mediocrity. Because getting to the second round and getting bounced is mediocrity.
Right. That's not a success.
No, that's no great feather in your cap. Yeah, I didn't lose for 4 years for that.
Right. And
I would have lost 4 years for nothing. But anyway.
Well, I was talking with a couple people that are, big Sixers fans, and we're fine with the whole process stuff, and they're now really so disgusted with what's going on. They say that this team is becoming unlikable. And this whole Thybulle thing is like the latest, log on the fire, because he was a guy that a lot of the fans, universally liked, along with Maxey. And I think, Embiid's constantly, seems to be whining about not getting the MVP, which I don't know why you care about that. Just go win a championship like that. Yeah. To me, that should be the only thing you should be focused on. Quit saying that, the people have it in for you, or it's rigged, or whatever the case may be. I don't care about the MVP.
Me neither.
Okay? And Harden has been, outside of the first week that he was here, he's kind of been disappointing, to be honest.
Underwhelming.
Yeah, very underwhelming.
Totally agree.
The only guy that I, have been really positive about the whole time for this season has been Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah.
I'm
glad that you said that, Harry, about the MVP, because I know that this is a big topic of conversation on the radio, and I get they got to fill 20 hours a week and that whole shebang.
Right.
We've been there, done that. But I really don't give a damn about the MVP. Like, people are freaking out about, it's going to be Jokic, it's going to be Embiid. Like, who cares? That doesn't do any. I don't have a parade for an MVP. I didn't care when Giroux didn't get it when he had the 102-point season.
Yeah. What does that do for you if the team's sitting home in June?
Yeah.
You're going to sit back and brag to your friends at the bar that your center won the MVP. Who cares? To be honest with you, I never cared about awards like this in any sport, even like Cy Young and all that kind of stuff. I never really got into it. If it was happened to be on my team, yeah, okay, that's great. That's extra. But if the team, the team disappointed, like, you had Steve Carlton back in 1972 or whatever. Well, he won 27 games, or he was unbelievable, but the team was awful, right? Do you think were Phillies fans saying, yeah, but we got the MVP, we got the Cy Young or whatever? You know what I mean? Like, who cares?
Yeah, like his numbers, Carlton's numbers that season.
Oh, they're off the charts.
Team was miserable.
Terrible.
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 One of the worst teams in the league, and except when he started.
Right.
And
every fifth day.
Yeah, like I didn't get all excited last year when the Phillies got bounced and Bryce
Harper won the MVP. Yeah.
Like what did that do for me?
Who cares?
I'm not texting friends in other cities and going, yeah, but Harper won the MVP. I know you guys had a parade, but Harper won the MVP.
Right.
No feather in my cap.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm glad that you said that. So download the Parx app, betParx. Check it out. Use that code JASON750. Get your first bet risk-free up to $750. And restrictions apply. And you do need to be over 21 and present in Pennsylvania. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Make sure you follow at betParx on Twitter, on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook as well. You get great content, daily specials, and tons more. So are you betting the Sixers in any kind of futures here, Hack?
The series they're like minus 180 to beat the Toronto Raptors. So, obviously, the sports books aren't too concerned about no Thibault in Toronto, for his defense. So, yeah, I think they'll get past the Raptors. They have lost, I think, 3 out of the 4 in the regular season to Toronto. Toronto's no slouch, but I think they'll find a way to win that series. It's after that I'm really concerned. You start going up against, the Heat or the Bucks or the Nets or whoever it is. That's where I think they could have a real problem.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. You look at it and go, that's where they can get overwhelmed. I mean, they lost in the second round last year to Atlanta.
Right.
Yeah. No business losing that.
And I think 3 of those games were at home, weren't they?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I think
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, they got to find a way. I mean, if they get bounced in the second round, Doc Rivers is going bye-bye, I would imagine.
I would think so. Yeah, I think definitely. Yeah.
You looking at anything on the baseball card that you like from a betting standpoint or futures or anything, or is it way too early for that for you?
I think it's a little. I don't get involved in in total wins in baseball. I don't know. What was the Phillies number on the betParx app? Did you happen to look it up?
I'm looking it up right now. It's asking me if I want to claim this. I don't want to claim that right now. I don't want to. Oh yeah, I'll claim that. I'll check it out.
All right, I'm looking here at futures. They have winning the divisions, futures.
What, do they have win totals?
I don't see win totals here. Let me scroll down.
Yeah, there's so much to bet. Like I'm just scrolling, and there's just so much to bet on.
Yeah, I mean you can bet on the Cy Young right now.
Yeah,
Max Scherzer plus 650.
That seems a little
is the favorite. Zach Wheeler's in there plus 850.
Yeah,
take a flyer on him.
Nah, that's not going to happen. He was great last year, but I don't feel it.
Yeah, I don't either.
So you got the NBA playoffs getting ready to start. You have the NHL winding it down, and baseball is underway, and it's going to be a fun time, man. It's going to be crazy. When's the next big golf tournament, Harry?
This week, man. They go to Harbortown, Hilton Head.
You got to play. You like there?
Well, it's only Monday.
Right. Got to give you a little more time.
Yeah, I mean, I'll look. I'll give you a play before the end of the show. How about that?
All right. Well, you'll put posting those plays on your Twitter handle.
Sure, at Harry Mays TU.
Okay. And again, Dei Lynam's going to join us in just a moment. By the way, Harry, today, before we get to D, I've been in this blues mood today. I sent you a video actually of
John Lee Hooker, right?
Yeah. You ever see the size of the mitts on that dude?
I did. I took notice of that. And, a lot of those old blues men had very big, very large hands. And it's funny you sent that to me today because I had seen a picture of Joe Namath on Twitter back when he was on the Brady Bunch. Do you remember that episode?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. He wore the jersey, the 12 jersey with the Jets. And
the whole thing.
I forget which kid. Bobby Brady, I think, was a big Joe Namath and Jets fan and stuff. But there's a picture of Joe Namath off the set with Jan and Marcia, and he's got his arms around both of them, right? And you can see these giant hands of his.
Yeah.
Huge mitts.
He would hold a football like we would hold a tennis ball.
Exactly.
That much of a grip on the circumference of it.
Yeah. And his hands were a little high on Jan and Marcia. I got to say, that if that was done today, there'd be a penalty flag.
Oh, they'd cancel him.
Oh, exactly.
That's Eve Plum there, Harris, Jan Brady.
And I was always a Jan guy over Marcia. I thought Marcia got way too much love. I was more for the undervalued stock in Jan.
Really?
Yes.
You were a Jan. What about Cindy Brady?
Nobody ever mentions poor Cindy, though, don't they?
Well, she fell apart. She had all kinds of issues.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's too bad.
Well, I mean, remember who was the Facts of Life girl, too? Tootie. Well, I forget her name.
Yeah, I don't know. I never watched that show.
No, it was, what's her name? She had all kinds of issues, drug issues as well. You didn't watch the Facts of Life?
No,
with Blair?
No.
She was hot.
Was she?
Oh, my God, yeah.
What kind of look did she have?
She had like the Heather Locklear, like feathered flow.
Oh, yeah?
Dirty blonde. Oh, she was an absolute beauty. Yeah.
In other words, a dime a dozen back in that era.
Yeah.
They all had that look, didn't they?
Oh, yeah. She was sensational. Lisa Welchel was her name.
Okay.
I'm going to bring up a picture here so you can see her.
All right.
Yeah, she was an absolute dime.
The name doesn't sound familiar to me, Lisa Welchel. She never went on to any big career after post Facts of Life, I guess, huh?
I don't think so. Most sitcom stars do not,
Okay.
That's kind of a one and done thing.
It's sort of a typecast thing. I mean, they're people from Seinfeld. I mean, Julia Louis-Dreyfus did.
Yeah, with Veep.
Right. Jason Alexander was in a couple of movies.
Yeah. Well, he was a Pretty Woman.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
He was a good character in that. He was a
fantastic.
A prick in that
yeah,
movie.
He was.
Yeah.
I'm going to find this picture. I just, let me upload this file. This picture. I just took a screenshot of Blair.
Okay.
Jeez. It's not letting me do it. Hold on a sec. But yeah, she was great. I mean, there were some beauties in I can't believe you were a Jan Brady guy.
Yeah, I was a Jan guy. That's
an outrage.
That is the facts of life.
Yeah,
for me.
I can't believe that. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I didn't find her attractive at all. I thought she was more like kind of like.
Well, I mean,
I don't want to say the ugly duckling, but.
Well, I mean, they always had her in those glasses, right?
Yeah.
She always kind of wore glasses.
Nerd.
Yeah. But I mean, see, I could see beyond that.
See, she wasn't like the sexy nerd, though.
Well, depends. Change the frames in the glasses.
Yeah, I guess
it changes the whole thing.
Yeah,
and I loved Florence Henderson too, the mom. I was after the mom and the middle daughter.
Yeah, I like the mom too.
Yeah,
absolutely. Because and Greg Brady was after that.
Yeah, that's right.
That
actually happened, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How about that? Good for him.
He got after that. Good on him. I think this might be the picture here. Let me see if geez, it's just not letting me do this.
No.
I mean, I want you to see Blair so bad that I'm wasting all this stupid time on this. But all right, here we go. Let me just do
now.
This.
Can you pull this up?
Yeah, here we go. All right.
Oh, okay. The back right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. I've seen her. All right, I do know her.
She's got that flowing hair. That's good hair.
Okay. That's good 80s hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Now, who was the one in the middle? Was she sort of like the
she was like the den mom.
She the housekeeper, or what was she?
Yeah, she was like the den mom.
Okay.
Like I guess they were all like orphans or something, right?
I don't know.
And Kim Fields is down here on the bottom left. Right
now, her name sounds familiar.
Yeah, she was very well endowed.
Is that right?
In the chest area.
Okay, yeah.
And
that's
then top
usually
left
where that
was
happens.
Joe, who was kind of like a biker broad.
Oh yeah.
And then I can't remember. I think the one on the bottom right is like Mindy or something, Mandy, something like that, if I recall.
Okay, she was probably the smartest one.
Yeah.
Right.
Good facts of life knowledge right there. Bruno would love this episode.
Oh, he would. He'd blow a whole hour on this.
Oh yeah.
You kidding?
Right after the Eagles would lose to the Cowboys.
Right after he's read the deal of the week twice.
Yeah. He'd be like, have you seen the facts of life? So classic. We're waiting on Dei Lynam. I don't know what's going
Yeah.
on here. She said 2:15. She was good. Let me see. Let me shoot her a text.
Okay.
She
I've
said
got 2:22
we
right
are
now.
on now and ready for you. Yeah, I mean, does Dei not have a 24-second shot clock over there?
I don't know. Maybe she's on the Mike Kern dial-up.
No, it could be.
That could be a problem.
Yeah, she could be trying to come in with the dial-up modem.
Yeah.
I'm gonna send her another email.
Maybe she's still down in Augusta. Wasn't she down at Augusta?
She was. She's actually at the shore now.
Oh, wow.
So she's not. I think she's down there with her kids for spring break.
Okay.
So she's back from Augusta. I don't know why she was down in Augusta. Now, have you been down to Augusta?
What do you mean you don't know why she was down in Augusta?
No, I don't know if she was working or just down there to check it out.
Oh, probably just to check it out. She loves golf.
Yeah.
She plays a lot of golf. I've been to the practice round once. And that was the Wednesday practice round, which is when they have the par 3 tournament too afterwards, which is pretty cool.
Now, why have you not gotten there for an actual full weekend of the Masters?
Because it's very hard to get tickets. It's like a lottery unless you're like really connected or wealthy.
Aren't you connected?
I am neither connected.
I mean, you did golf shots with Harry Donahue. You got to call Augusta and tell them that.
Harry Donahue is here too. He's watching it from home as well.
I imagine Harry Donahue's been down there before.
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
I mean, he's a well-traveled man.
Right.
All right, let's get
now.
to
I hear something.
Yeah, let's get to Dei Lynam right now.
All right, here she comes
on the betParx presents Geez, episode 19. We bring her in now.
There she is.
Hey, Dei.
I apologize. I was sitting there. I didn't realize I had to hit enter.
It's big technology on this show, Dei.
Yes. Yes.
Now I got to find out before we get into some Sixers stuff. Did you enjoy the Masters, and how did you get the tickets?
Come on now. Is that the first part of that question is silly? If
Yes.
you go to the Masters and you don't enjoy it, come on. I said for me, one of the top 3 things I've ever done. You know, not like having your children. I'm like experiences.
Right.
And I think the one thing that I was I cannot believe the elevation walking that course is a bear.
Yep.
And I wasn't playing, so I'm not carrying my bag. Well, I mean, they don't carry their bag, but the up and down. And I think TV does a really, really good job. It's a beautiful place, but you do not see the elevation to the degree that it is.
Right.
So
you go up to where that clubhouse is, all the way down to the 13th tee is a huge change in elevation. Yeah.
And even when you're coming up 18, you're like, oh man, I got 18, you know, or 9, you know. So, but what was so cool for me is to have been there for those practice rounds. And part of what I love about the practice rounds is that you can actually hear conversations of people talking. Like Koepka was talking literally right in front of me on 5. And because they're waiting for the other guys to get off the green, because you know they kind of throw discs to the different pin placements where they're going to be throughout the 4 days. And so you wait a little bit, and they're having like conversation about where they went to dinner, or oh yeah, we went there, and then you know, or they're talking about a trip that they recently took. It was hysterical.
Right.
So I love that part of it. I got lucky. On Monday, we heard that Tiger was going to be coming over possibly. And we had been out on the course. I hadn't gone to the practice range. We just walked over. We're walking over to the practice range, and here he's just arriving on the putting green. And my husband and I got in the front row of the driving range, knowing now he's about to, you know, within 15 minutes, maybe 20, he's going to be right in front of us, which he was. So that was really cool too, because people were so excited to see him and to watch him. And, you know, he was walking over saying hi to people. It was really cool. So.
He's one of those guys.
To answer.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, to answer the second part of your question, that there is a friend of ours who is a caddy, has caddied for Tom Watson for a long, long time. And we've known him he's lived in, well, we've lived in his neighborhood because he was there first for 20 some years. And one time he said to us, hey, if I ever have extra, and he literally called. It was a short while right before, within 2 weeks beforehand, and I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
And the last time, my husband has been there before, and I was not his chosen guest.
Oh.
So I was not taking no for a third time. A third time.
Yeah.
I said, there will be no more marriage if I don't get on this one.
You could serve papers on a third one.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Dee, you've been around a lot of athletes and really big stars of sport, global stars. And Tiger's one of those guys too that I imagine when he's in your presence, you can almost feel it, like the air gets heavier.
Well, absolutely. But I will say this was even at a different level because of what he was returning from.
Exactly.
And the fact that people really did question after his car accident, would he ever be able to play golf again? I mean, I think there were a lot of us who didn't think that was going to be possible. He almost lost a leg.
Yeah.
And so there was just a whole different weight to that part of it. But I think the other was his gratitude, his expression of gratitude to fans, which he was always so stoic. And I think when you are of that elite level, and you even heard Scheffler talk about in his press conference after he won yesterday, that was one of the things he tried to take from Tiger, and watching Tiger on YouTube, like his concentration. He would never let anything break his concentration. And I don't think that has changed for him, but he would like go like this to his heart as he was walking, and people were cheering in such a way to see him back out there. And I think now it's like kind of more of a mutual. The sport understands what he did and does for that sport. Yeah, he moves the needle, and that's just true. But I think he now understands what he has done for it, but what the game has also been to him. And so that, I would agree with
the history of it, right?
Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah.
Has there ever been another athlete that's impacted any sport the way he's impacted? I mean, Jordan impacted the NBA, and there's, great players, but I don't know that anybody has impacted one single sport the way he has. Even Ali in boxing.
Well, that Ali in boxing
Ali would.
It's a pretty good comparison. Yeah, that really. Yeah. I mean.
And how would somebody not? And again, I don't know that it would be at this same level, but they do say Magic and Bird kind of saved the NBA at a time when it was going down a really bad path.
Yeah, in the late 70s, there was a lot of drugs in the league, and the ratings weren't good, and the game, the championship games were on tape delay and things like that. So those two kind of came as a force all at the right time, and then ushered in the 80s
and with Commissioner David Stern, who was ready to fix it.
Yep.
Yeah, no doubt. Let's look at the NBA, D, because it's playoff time. Like, you go through a regular season. I love the rigors of an 82-game schedule in the winter sports. I don't kind of wish away time and go, let's just get to the playoffs. But when they get here, you're going, okay.
Yeah, no, I agree.
This is where, you really earn your keep. And the Sixers are coming in. They're going to get Toronto in the first round. Harry and I are just talking about no Thibault when they go across the border. How much of an impact is that going to have on this team's ability to get those wins on the road?
Well, first of all, I thought Thibault handled himself with the tremendous class yesterday when he had to talk about that for the first time, and knowing, what it is costing possibly his team, and even for himself with his own reputation and moving forward. So I just wanted to be able to say I think that he handled what is a tough situation, but a situation, as his dad said, you can make your choices. Just know that you will always have to be able to handle whatever comes from the choices that you make. And he's doing that. I do think they will miss him defensively because there's a lot of guys you got to guard perimeter wise with the Raptors. So I think there is some concern there to me. I still would say that the Sixers are playing with the best player in the league. It puts a lot of weight on Joel, but Joel has not he has not fallen back not once this year. If anything, he has been building, right? So like 40 and 10, he's done that 13 times this year. That's never been done. I know people, I was saying that the race for MVP is going to be closer than people in our area would believe. Everybody all of a sudden thought I was like saying I was pulling for the Joker. That's not what I was saying. I was saying that these are two very different players that are incredibly talented. But the one guy has already won an MVP. The other guy's going to have to do something special to make people who think the other guy still deserves to be, because he hasn't, nothing has dropped off for the Joker either.
Right.
But I think Joel, by winning the scoring title and being able to produce, like no center has averaged better than 30 since Moses Malone with the Rockets. I mean, that number is crazy too. So I think that Joel, though, understands that he's going to have to be a force and carry. And the biggest thing for me, for him, will be, can he keep his turnovers down? Because unfortunately, Nick Nurse throws a lot of stuff at you. And it'll be zone. It'll be people coming with a double in ways that you don't always see. And I hope that Joel can, because he's done a really good job this year of passing out the double teams, and their spacing, over when they've played well towards the end. Now, not when the ball sticks, but when they move the ball, and their spacing, which I think is usually pretty good. It's moving the ball that has been a problem on given nights. That these guys are knocking down threes, and that's going to make them have to make a choice. If you're going to double Embiid like that, then these guys are going to make you pay. And so I think it's going to be a long series. I really do. I think 6 or 7, in my opinion, assuming everybody is healthy. I know Van Vliet didn't play in the last game that the Sixers played against Toronto. I anticipate that their roster will be healthy, as will be the Sixers.
Yeah. Now, what do they do when Embiid has to come out of the game? Because he's not going to be able to play 48 minutes a night, unfortunately, in the playoffs. And there seems to, they always have had this problem, when he has to come off the court, they're a totally different team. How do you think Doc Rivers handles that in the playoffs?
Well, he didn't like you asking him about it. I can tell you
I know.
that after yesterday's game. It's a fair question. And so in my opinion, in fairness, Doc was wrong, because adding minutes for Paul Reed is something that has come about of later, not, since the James Harden trade took place. He didn't do that right away. I was watching Paul Reed down in the G League more than he was getting minutes with the Sixers. So, and he was playing well at the G League, which is maybe why now they were trying to give him some minutes to see if it could translate at the NBA level. I think he was pretty clear. If it's a smaller lineup, he's going to try Paul Reed. Paul's going to get fouls. Part of that is not just because he is battling a bigger person per se. I think it's also the price you pay as a young player in this league. Thibault went through that a year ago. So I think that's part of it. And then Doc's had DeAndre Jordan before. He's obviously a fan of the guy. I think that if it's, not somebody who's going to beat him with their quickness, that he was inclined to use backup minutes with Jordan first. But again, that matchup has to be one that he's not going to get, crushed by somebody who has speed. And if the person's smaller and quicker, I think you got to go with Paul Reed.
Dee, when you look at it, really the big thing that this could come down to, whether it's the first round or playoff success in total, is really going to be predicated on the X factor, and that's James Harden. Came in initially gangbusters, but it's been a little underwhelming since. Is it a situation where he can flip the switch and just become an absolute dominant player here in the playoffs?
Well, not the dominant that won him an MVP. No, I don't think that. And if we're expecting that, I think we're kind of that's silly. The one thing I do like is the guy. He's finding people who are making shots. So, like, the other night he had, I don't know what he had last. Oh, he didn't play last night. So the 2 nights ago he had, or 2 games ago he had 15. I think his first 4 games he shot lights out and was averaging 12 assists per game. in the 17, I think it is, since then. His assists are down to 10.5. So his assists are still crazy good. I think what we see is he hasn't made a lot of shots. And that you would hope, comes somewhere up slightly. And the other is he's shooting like 29% over those last 17 games from 3-point range. That's not good enough. So the shooting would be a little bit of a concern. But the bigger thing for me is if he continues to make sure the ball moves, not just by him, that isolation, everybody looking at him, that cannot happen. Nick Nurse and company will make you pay. But if he makes it that everybody is moving, and he's the guy that starts that, you move the ball, people move, make the next pass. That's when these guys had 37 assists 2 games ago. I mean, I don't care who you're playing against. 37 assists on 50 made field goals is a big deal. So
that's good. That's good
it's not that.
basketball.
It's not that hard to figure it out. So I'd like him to shoot a higher percentage. I think between the two of them, they'll get to the line, but they can't be wishing that everything is a whistle for them. Play through the contact, and they're both experienced enough. I'm talking about him and Embiid, obviously, experienced enough to know what it's going to take, and they know what's riding on this.
You think they get past the Raptors?
I do. I think
Boy,
if
that
they
wasn't
came
very
to
convincing.
a game 7, no. Well, the only reason, I mean, I don't love the Sixers' depth, to be honest. And even though I like what we saw in Shake last night and what we saw in Paul Reed, Detroit has 23 wins. I'm sorry, it's hard for me to not say, okay, guys, I get what you did, and I hope that builds your confidence. But we're going into a next level here. And it's going to take more than what you're not going to have maybe the same kind of success because the defense gets better. People are moving quicker to defend. So I think it's going to be a tough challenge. And I think but as anybody said, if you're going in like questioning if you can get out of the first round, then you really weren't considering yourself to be contending for the finals anyhow. So I think being down a man when I don't love your bench is tough. And when I say that, meaning for possibly 3 out of 7 games,
right?
That's the only thing. So I do like, and I hope that he sticks with this. Danny Green should be in the starting lineup throughout the series because I would not like seeing you flip flop from games 1 and 2 to now be different 3 and 4 to now be different. If that to me would be a disservice to the other guys. And so he had Thibault come off the bench for 2 games when everybody was playing, not last night. And I think I would stick with that for this first round for sure.
One of the things, the NBA playoffs become about every possession is highly contested.
Yep.
And, the focus on trying to stop what a team is trying to do in a 7-game series is even more pronounced. Doc Rivers is a guy that has been there, done that, won a title, but he's been highly criticized as well for his usage, his, plays out of timeouts and all of those things. How much of this is going to be depending on how Doc Rivers performs as a coach here too? He's not playing, but he's coaching.
No, but it is. Well, first of all, you can go back to last year. I mean, his team blew big leads in multiple games and lost a game 7 on their home court to a lower seed. It's not supposed to happen like that. Yeah. And some will point to, you couldn't, obviously players make plays or don't make plays. Ben was a big part and became a problem, and maybe something could have been done earlier so he wasn't as big a problem. I don't know. The other thing, Seth, got lit up by Herter. And so could they have done something, to stop the bleeding sooner? I don't know. But I do know this, whether I don't know how Doc feels about it. I'm pretty sure if you ask the question, he wouldn't like to entertain talking about what your role. I've been there when somebody has asked him this, actually. Your role when your team starts to have these collapses, and he doesn't, particularly care to talk about that. But I got to think at some point in the back of his head, he knows that just like there's pressure on this team and Embiid, Pompey wrote a great article today. If he wins a scoring title and the MVP and you can't get out of the first round, honestly, like what a waste.
Yeah.
So I got to think that Doc knows that there's there's expectation has risen.
What's your thoughts on this play-in tournament that they've now come to of last season, this season? Now the Nets are in it. They could be the best team in the East, and yet they're in the play-in games. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, which is not unlike what the Lakers were last year.
Right.
Now the Lakers situation, well, it was kind of similar because the Lakers, felt that if LeBron and AD rested up, just get me to the play-in and I'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously that didn't work out for them. So I feel a little bad for the 7th seed. And maybe I feel bad because you say, wow, you got all the way to the 7th. Now I got to earn it still. But I do like the actual playing games. I have to tell you, I find them entertaining. And the fact that Brooklyn's in it is even, kind of a little bit of icing on the cake there. So, they're always trying to do something different. Baseball does the same thing. I thought last year when hockey was in the bubble, I thought they had some great ideas about how they were going to seed. So, I'm okay with it now. I didn't like it at first, but I'm okay with it now.
Let's face it, they do it because it gets more cities involved, and it's about revenue. Yeah. This is a business.
Yes. Yeah. And it keeps teams that maybe struggle because of injury or struggle because it keeps them in it longer and fighting for something. And the longer interest is there, your TV ratings go up, and that equals dollars, just like Jason said.
Yeah, and down at the end of the season, the games mean more too. The 82 that are scheduled because you're playing for something.
Sure.
So to me, that's always good. There's a tipping point like there is with everything.
Yeah, Jason, look just how things flipped on the last day in many areas there, or in the last week, certainly in the East. So I think that helps. I do.
If they get past Toronto and they got to deal with a Milwaukee, or they got to deal with, I'm not sure exactly who they can end up playing.
The Heat, probably the Heat next.
Yeah, the Heat would be their next. Yeah. Which actually, so they haven't played particularly well against teams in the East, with the exception of the Chicago Bulls, who they swept. But I like the Heat would have a tough time of slowing down the Joel Embiid. Now again, these guys have been there, done that. They're very well coached. And again, defensively, they will show them stuff. But I think, I don't want to look ahead, because I think this challenge is great. And again, part of it being down a man is a big part of that. But I'd be watching what the Heat are doing and seeing how, what they look like health-wise would be interesting to me. But they have good guard play, It's like, guard play.
Pick your poison.
I think the one good thing we haven't mentioned his name, Tyrese Maxey, deserves a lot. This guy is, I didn't look today, but he's either 1 or 2 in the entire NBA 3-point shooting percentage. Talk about when you thought you were going to miss Seth Curry going.
Right.
This guy, and over the last 5 weeks, he's shooting 49+% from 3.
Yeah, say what you want about Embiid. Embiid's great season. To me, the development of Tyrese Maxey has been really the story of the season.
And I would say, had the 2-5 not pulled what he pulled, he would have been, remember how last year he didn't even get in every postseason game. He cracked the rotation ever so slightly. Right. And I just know what happens with veteran coaches. They see young and they say, he makes mistakes. Well, they didn't have a choice but to play this guy. Right. And look what this guy showed you. Now, he put in the work, and you had to play him the minutes. But look what you got out of doing that.
Yeah, and he loves to play. I love watching people that love to play. You know what I mean? He just loves to play ball.
Well, he's the complete opposite of the person who has left us.
That other guy. Yeah.
That's the great coup of the season, is that you didn't have to send him with him.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest thing.
That's
exactly.
True.
Yeah. Third in the league.
You know what? They would the 3-point percentage. Yeah, I knew it was 2 or 3.
Yeah. So tell us about this new show you got coming up.
Oh, this is going to be fun. So it's X's and O's, a basketball podcast with the Lynams.
Okay.
And basically, we're going to do it 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And I'll either be joined by my dad, my brother, or my nephew. And obviously, we all know who my dad is and his basketball background.
Right.
My brother worked in the NBA for years, and he's currently coaching in the G League. And my nephew's up and coming, and he's coaching in the G League as well. So we're going to just obviously analyze the Sixers and their playoff situation, but we're also going to go around the NBA and be basically a playoff basketball podcast.
Nice.
So,
I love it.
X's and O's
I'm
3
excited,
times a week. Yeah.
It's like the El King song, Har. X's and O's.
X's and O's.
Yes.
Oh.
I know. You might hear it underneath ever so slightly.
Oh, I love that. I ask a lot of people, like when I do hockey interviews, like lifers that have been in the game forever and it's been their life. I always ask them this question. I want to ask it to you because I love getting people's answer to this. What has the game of basketball given you? It's a big one.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
It's given me a career. It's given me a ton of friendships. It's given me an opportunity to work in the same industry as a man that I adore.
Me too.
Consider, I put my father at the pinnacle as a person and also as somebody who has taught me a ton about basketball. So, and to be able to have had that with him for all of these years. But I think I will say the number of great people I've met because I've been in this business of basketball is a tremendous gift to me, for sure.
Still love it the same.
And I've loved my career. I do. I do different things, obviously, than I did. I've worn many hats, from sideline to being in a studio to calling games. The Blue Coats are going to play in the G League finals. And, I think I just finished my 5th or 6th season of being the color analyst for them. I've gotten my college basketball in the women's game has grown over the last couple of years. Now I have Princeton. I did my 6th year with them. I added Monmouth women's basketball to my resume. And now I do the content with Parx. So, it's just a sport that keeps on giving to me, quite frankly.
Yeah. It's giving you everything in a lot of ways.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on?
That's why it's.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Har.
What's your thoughts on?
That's part of why I love the podcast that's coming up, because that's 3 generations of people who are benefiting from, it started with my dad being in basketball, but I think because we all enjoyed him so much and we learned to then love the game so much, and now here we are and we all had different paths, but we get to come together and do this cool thing and talk like we usually do at the kitchen table or when we're in the living room watching an NBA game, and somebody has an opinion and the other person says, "Oh, well, how about this?" And so that's why I think this is kind of cool.
It's a true family business.
Yes.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, what were your thoughts on Fran Dunphy taking the LaSalle job, coming back to the sideline?
Wow. So I saw him Saturday night because we had the Coaches versus Cancer Gala, which has been a long-standing event, and these guys do an unbelievable job. And that was the first I saw him since he got the job, because he and I play golf at the same place. So I do see him a lot. So I went up to him. I said, "My God, I don't know if you're crazy or you're just that giving of a human being, or both." And he says, I'm definitely the first one. That I can tell you. But I think that he obviously cares so much about his alma mater. It's a tough job, as we can see, tough to recruit. Look at what you're recruiting against just in your own city area, the Big Six, right? So I think that he did it because he cares and he wants to leave it in a better situation, not just on the basketball court, but in terms of getting alumni to come back to the fold. And he's such a good guy that I think he will work tirelessly with other people to bring that hopefully up to a standard that then somebody else at a later date will be able to take and have it, carry it forward.
Yeah.
He's a coach. Coach's coach.
Yeah. They just love the smell of the
Coach's
gym. Isn't that what Larry Brown always used to say?
In a very monotone way.
He did.
I love the smell of the gym.
Yeah, I love that.
Grow up.
That's great.
I always loved what he had to say. It was just so slow to hear it.
Yep.
Slow and low. And I mean, I was in that gym with him for many, many years. And he was one of so good to me. And those were the years where, I'm still doing a lot of learning because I came when I was still young. And, there's some tough personalities and strong personalities. But he was always really good to deal with for my job. And he always was first class. But yeah, I would agree with the way he delivered. There wasn't a lot of emotion in his tone.
Right.
Yeah. Well, just to kind of survive as long as he did, you got to somehow remove emotion from it sometimes. But like guys like him, he's a library of basketball. Like he's not a book, he's a library.
Yeah.
And guys like that just love talking about the game. Like I'm the same way with hockey that you are with hoops, D. Like it's my job. And I don't want to get off the couch to go do it sometimes because it still is work.
It's a job. It's still a job. Yeah.
But I mean, like I still watch the game at all levels and incredibly intrigued by it at every element of it. The culture, the on the ice, every element of it. Like I can't get enough. It's got its hooks into me and it's never let out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think also, I'm with you, by the way, like 4:30 on Saturday and Sunday morning is always a bear to get up and be on the radio at 6 a.m. And I say to myself sometimes, Dee, what are you doing? But I think like the conversations that you have with people talking about the game, because you do love it so much, it is really fun. But I think about, I mentioned my dad, but I mentioned Larry Brown. I think about some of the people I've been able to be around and absorb, through osmosis, some of their knowledge and hopefully carry it forward and see the game maybe a little different. You can never stop learning, and the game evolves too. So,
it would be boring if it was the same game it was 20 years ago. I mean, the evolution of it is what makes it great. Absolutely. D, we're going to be checking out the show. So what's it called?
X's and O's.
Basketball podcast with the Lynams. Yep.
Love it. And when will the first episode drop?
Well, I got a message. I think on Monday if we get the technology all right. So which was what I planned because their first game would be on the weekend, and so then we'll kick it off next week. So that's the plan.
Awesome.
So look for it on the betParx bevy of different shows, including this one and the new show X's and O's with the Lynams. I can't wait to see it. I love your dad. Let me tell you, Jace.
Thanks.
He's so awesome. He's just such an authentic man. That's what I love.
And talks a lot with his hands,
All right.
A lot of this, hey, over here, and then they were doing this,
He looks like he's guarding some little 6'2" guard. The hands are going.
Yeah,
trying to keep her in there. Steve, thanks for doing this. Best of luck with the show. We appreciate it.
Yeah, good luck with the show.
I appreciate it. Hey, thanks.
Follow D on Twitter too at the letter D
on.
Lynam CSN.
Love it. There she is.
I kept the old CSN.
Yep. There you go.
There she is, Dei Lynam on the Odgies podcast. She's awesome. I thank her so much for joining us. Adding
that podcast just in time for playoff basketball, man. That's going to be good. 3 times a week. Yeah.
You will be totally covered with the Lynam family.
Yeah.
And 3 generations breaking it down. Not only the Sixers, but the entire league, Harry.
Right.
That's going to be fantastic. Yeah. I love her dad, too, because like you've had him on the radio show over the years.
Yeah, sure.
And he's a guy, he's a name shortener. Well, let me tell you, Harry. He's not calling you Harry, right? Jace. Love that guy.
I got to play for the RBC Heritage here on the betParx app. Opening up the golf tab, and I'm going to take a win bet. Actually, 2 of them. 2. I'm going to go plus 2,200 on Corey Connors to win.
Not Jimmy Connors.
No. And plus 3,300 on Joaquin Neiman to win.
And not Joaquin Phoenix.
Right.
Wow. You put out 2 Bruno names out there for us. All right. So get those bets in on the betParx app. And if you don't have the new app yet, download it, open it up, check it out, open up an account. Real easy to use, fun to use, easy to navigate, easy to check out all the different ways you can bet. That's the great thing, Harry. You can bet so many different ways. It's not just, money lines or spreads, parlays, and teasers. It's 1,000 ways now.
Yeah, player performances is a huge one, especially now, coming up with the NBA and the playoffs.
Oh,
I mean, that's awesome. And plus, I had that winner on the NCAA championship game since last we spoke.
That's right.
Yeah, Carolina held the line there and covered the number as the underdog with 4.5. They lost by 3 in a great game, which wrapped up a tremendous NCAA tournament and March Madness this year.
And you rolled that right into your Tiger to make the cut bet. Now,
exactly.
Couple plays for this weekend as well in the golf, and make sure you check it out for all the basketball postseason, remainder of the hockey season, and then eventually the playoffs here coming up in a couple weeks. Baseball. Have you gotten any baseball action yet, Harry?
I have not yet. I'm not yet. I might take a look at tomorrow night's Mets Phillies game with Wheeler on the mound.
Who's going for the Mets
tomorrow night? Oh, I knew you'd ask me
when you're talking about the Mets, you got to look at that matchup because they got some pitching there.
They do. They do.
That's a team, and they spent a lot of money in the offseason.
Yeah, they did.
So tomorrow night, tonight it's Rangers Suarez
for the Phillies. Yeah,
Walker. Yeah, then tomorrow against the Mets, it's Tyler McGill versus Zach Wheeler.
Okay, there you go, Tyler McGill.
It has the start time listed at 6:45.
I know. I saw that.
Are they staggering now?
It's a little. It's maybe. Yeah, I don't know if that's a new thing. That's kind of odd. I did notice that. You still have some afternoon baseball like today because of there's still opening days at various venues and so forth. But the 6:45 start, maybe that is the opener for the Mets at home, perhaps. And because I think they started with the Nationals on the road, if I remember. So there's probably some ceremony for opening day. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, I see a 4:10, a 4:12, a 6:40, a 6:45, then a 7:05, 7:07, 7:20, 7:40, 7:45.
They're all staggered, so you can get your bets in, Jason.
Yeah, but like baseball is a sport you don't need to stagger like you do in the NBA, where at the quarter break and you have 5 games all in the halftime.
Right, or like in the NFL on a Sunday.
Yeah, same thing in the NHL. Like every game, you have 12 games tonight, and they're all in between periods. Like, can we get a stagger?
I know.
Stagger. All right, so get the betParx app, download it, use the promo code JASON750. That'll get you that $750 risk-free bet, and terms and conditions apply. You do need to be over 21 and present in Pennsylvania or New Jersey. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Well, this is a packed episode. Good stuff with Dee. We thank her.
Yes.
And we'll be back next week for number 20, I guess, right?
That's right.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. Leave us a rating and review. Subscribe, and we'll talk to you next week on a brand new episode of betParx Presents